GM. I want to talk today about the value of money and how most people obsess over the little things and stress themselves over little things and miss the bigger picture. And they have a worse life because of it. You need to focus on optimizing the big moving levers. You need high leverage activities. Not high leverage like trading, not 100x. You have to find the areas in your life that are most expensive and optimize those rather than snaking around and fucking stinging and trying to be tight and trying to save money frugally, right? This is especially important because I talk to you guys a lot. I tell students a lot with the boot camp that you should make more money than you spend and save. But that is not the same as being tight. I'm not telling you to stop spending $5 on a coffee. That's totally wrong, right? These people who put out this bullshit about the $5, if you just don't save that $5 for coffee, that's $150 a month, that's $1,800 a year. You invest that into an index fund, and over 20 years, that turns into $50,000. It's bullshit because you're taking all the enjoyment out of life. It's enjoyable to go for a coffee. That's why people do it. They don't do it because it tastes better, because you can make just as nice coffee at home. They don't do it because it's healthier for you. It's literally identical. In fact, it's actually less healthy if you're one of these people who drinks a fucking super turbo sugar-filled latte, right? People do it because they like to do it. They enjoy the feeling of doing it. Maybe it just gives them a break from their mundane dog shit existence. Or, if they're like any of us, you just like to grab a coffee when you're going wherever you're going. And you don't want to fucking overthink it. If you delay gratification in those kind of ways, you're just putting yourself in for 40 years of misery to have a bit of money when you're older. But being too fucking afraid to even use it or spend it. So, you have to think about the utility of that money. I argue that it's actually a very cheap way to have massive pleasure, right? Maybe not massive, maybe massive, a bit of an overstatement. But you can derive a lot of pleasure from meeting a friend or a few friends or whatever, or meeting a family member and just going for a coffee. So for $10, you could spend 3 hours socializing with a friend or family, right? And that could actually be, especially if you're someone who's focusing very much on work and hustling and grinding through the bull market and through your business and running all that, but you want to take some time away from the screen, you go walk into town, meet someone, have a coffee, spend very little money relatively, and have a nice break from work. So it's actually an extremely low cost thing to do. Far from this fucking bullshit they teach you on those stupid fucking YouTube videos about saving money. What you need to do is take the bigger things, right? If you downgrade something that is not a luxury, right? Something that is an essential long term, that is actually a better way to save money. Let me explain. Our lives are built around just little moments of luxury, treats, whatever it is. Giving yourself something that you want. You like a certain type of bottled water, right? Like I like the San Pellegrino bottled water in the glass bottle. It's the most expensive one because it's in a glass bottle and it's not full of plastic bullshit. But even if it wasn't, I would buy that anyway because that's the one I like. I don't care that there's 10 other brands that are half the price in plastic bottles beside it. I like the one I like. So never would I would never consider it. Thankfully I don't have to. But even when I didn't have money, I would not consider it. I'm like, I like this. The difference of $1.50 and 89 cents is not that big. Because only an idiot who thinks, yeah, but if you take the difference and you multiply it by 365 and you multiply that by 30 years, but nobody actually does that. Because what you're actually going to do, right? Think about it. Think of how life really is. What you're actually going to do is you're going to save that 70 cents from the cheaper bottle of water, right? 70 cents times 7, so $4.90, so $5 a week. So you're actually going to save $5 a week. But are you going to invest that $5 into an index fund and hold it for 40 years? No, because you're going to end up going out and getting drunk at the weekend and eating a fucking takeaway burger that costs $7 when you're drunk. Or you're going to do something that costs that money. So it's, apart from just being totally impractical, it's just a retarded way to set your life up. Also, these people don't focus on the important things. So the thing you should cut back on is your house, your living, your car, your laptop, your TV. Right? These bigger things. The people, you don't need a $3,000 laptop. You don't. You need a high performance laptop that might cost $1,000. You can get just as much performance out of a $1,000 laptop as a $3,000. Now, maybe you like Apple and you want a MacBook. Great. I feel you. I only ever get MacBook, right? I'm an Apple slave too. But if you need to save money, if you need to actually reduce expenses to then use that money more productively, you can go without a MacBook for a year or two. Right? You can build your own computer. You can, like, if you take a little bit and turn it into a hobby, you can build a super high performance computer for like $500-$600. And you could turn it into a hobby. My point is not that you should fucking throw your computer out. The same goes for your car. You have to be honest with where you're at on your path. Right? You do not need a nice car. You would like one, but if you are not where you want to be financially, you should not have a 30 grand car. You should have a car that has 4 wheels and gets you to where you need to go. No flash. Because I'll tell you something else. No car is cool until it's a supercar. Your 50 grand Audi A5 or your 50 grand BMW M3 or 3 Series, it's still an Audi, it's still a BMW. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but they're not that cool. Nobody really cares. What people do care about is a Lambo or a Ferrari or a Porsche. Right? And I don't mean like people, it's not for people, right? But it's for you. But the cars don't become fashionable or cool until they're supercars. And if it's something that you like, sure, I'm not telling anyone how to live, but if you're also the person who's telling me, Michael, I have a goal to save X amount of money by X date, right? And I say, well, lower your expenses, save more money, make more than you spend, put that away, learn how to trade, invest it, grow it, and you can get rich. But you won't get rid of your 30 grand car just out of vanity. You do not need one. If you've got a 30 grand car and you've got 20 grand in the bank, you're doing it wrong. Your car should not be worth more than your net worth. Shouldn't be anywhere near it. You can drive a car that's worth 5k. Easily. 4 wheels, same steering wheel. It fucking gets you where you need to go. In future, you can have all the fucking supercars you want if you approach this correctly. So it's not about cutting out coffee. It's about the same thing, the same utility you can get out of it. It's a bit, if you want to use the coffee analogy, think about it this way. You don't have to go to the super high-class gourmet coffee shop and pay $12 for a coffee. If what you like about coffee is going to meet your friends or meet someone, family member, meet a girl, whatever, right? You can just go somewhere the coffee costs $3. The goal or the pleasure is derived from the coffee. And so when it's like the car, which not necessarily pleasure, but it's about utility, you have to have a car to get around, for some of you. The car itself does not have to be the top spec if you are also saying that you need money. Right? That's where you should cut back, because you can still have a car, you just don't need the expensive car. Housing, exact same. I know you want that beautiful house. I know you want to live in the fucking sick penthouse flat. I know you want this and that and this and that. I know you want a big house, but you don't need one. You don't need it. What you need is a roof over your head. And so you could live in a $1,500 a month flat or a $1,000 a month flat, and they are fucking identical. Yes, the $1,500 one is nicer, but you haven't earned it yet. Again, if you're somebody who's saying you need money, have you considered these things? Do you need all that extra space or that location or whatever? You don't. You could sleep anywhere. I've lived in some shitholes in my life. I live in a really nice place now, but I've earned it, right? And now I would put a premium where I live now, okay? It's more important for me to live where I live than it was when I was younger and I was broke and I was coming up and I needed money and I was hustling. I would live in shared houses with a bunch of guys, and we would live in like uni conditions, right? And it was cheap, and we all split the rent and the bills and blah, blah, and that was the grind. That was part of the sacrifice, the hustle. I don't want to do that now. But if you're in that position, you should. If you're in the position where you're saying you need more money, you want more money to invest, etc., 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 you should do that. And those are the things. So whenever people talk about the ways to save money, this is what most people do. There's so many people who will torture themselves by never having a coffee out. And being that really annoying frugal friend, that stingy friend who like won't pay for stuff when they're out, or if they ever buy something, they're like texting you, "Can you send me that $3.60?" You don't want to be that miserable prick. You will not have any friends. But the funny thing about those people is they're still driving a 30 grand car, or they're in a house that's twice as expensive as they need to be in. They're not focusing. They don't actually understand. They don't want to save money. They don't want to cut back. They don't want to do any of that. They're living in that scarce mindset. It's just a pure scarcity mindset. Choosing to drive a cheaper car because the utility is the exact same is not scarcity. There is nothing abundant about driving a car that is worth more than your net worth. That's just retarded. So remember to differentiate the two. A scarcity mindset is all the coffee bullshit. An abundance mindset is understanding that having a 5k car instead of a 30k car and using the 25k in the right way in the markets to grow it to 50, 75, 100, etc. is abundance mindset. It is a growth mindset.